I was born into the modeling industry. Both of my parents were both models. I grew up only seeing one side of beauty, perfection. My mother was always perfect. She never left the house unless she was done up. I honestly think that was one of the reasons why I didn't really want to model when I was younger. I played basketball. That was my safety. That was what I honestly thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. I had a full scholarship to play at a university. I thought I was going to be a WNBA. God had a different plan for me. On October 3rd of 2012, as every young, healthy woman gets their period, mine was super heavy. I went down, I bought a new box of tampons. I used the first one. I started feeling a little sick. I texted all of my friends, all of my girlfriends were like, well, it's flu season, we're all kind of getting sick. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just getting the flu. Afternoon came, I started feeling even worse. I changed my tampon again. I then texted them saying, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could go tonight. The evening came. I championed up. I jumped in the shower. I changed my tampon again. I drove myself to my friend's place. I walked in and everyone said, dude, you look horrible. At that moment, it hit me. I felt super sick. I drove myself back to my apartment. All I wanted was my bed. My mom and I are very close. She didn't hear from me, so she knew something was wrong. She was miles away from me, and her gut instinct was she needed to contact me, but I wasn't answering. So she called for a welfare check from a police officer. All I remember at this time, I had accumulated 107 fever. I was on my bedroom floor. I remember my blind Cocker Spaniel jumping on my chest, barking at me ferociously as if something was wrong. I came to, and I heard knock, knock at the door, police, please open up. I carried myself to the door. I opened it up. The officer said, you're really sick. I said, yeah, I know. He said, your mom's really worried about you. I said, okay. And then the cop just left. Right? Unbelievable. I went back to my bed. I called my mom. She's frantic, panicking. What's going on? How are you? I'm like, I'm really sick. I'm not feeling well. I probably have the flu. She's like, well, do you need an ambulance? I'm like, well, the cop just left. So I felt like if something was wrong, he would have sent me to the hospital. Well, after that didn't sit well with her. She had that gut instinct that something was really, really wrong. She called for all of her friends, called for my friends, called for another welfare check. It took police officers 30 minutes to get inside my bedroom or to my apartment. They found me face down on my bedroom floor. I was 10 minutes from death. I had accumulated, like I said, 107 fever. They'd rushed me to St. John's Hospital. There I suffered 2 heart attacks. Doctors, nurses, everyone was frantic as to why is this young, healthy woman plummeting before us? And thank God there was an infectious disease doctor on call, and he located the tampon, he sent it to the lab, and it came back as TSS1, which is toxic shock syndrome. Once they were able to diagnose it, I was then able to be more receptive to the medicine, but I was still given a 1% chance of survival. By that point, my mom and my godfather were planning my funeral, getting my casket. The odds of me surviving was very slim. By the grace of God, I woke up a week and a half later from the medically induced coma. I was 200 pounds. They had to pump me full of 80 pounds of fluids to get all the toxins out of my system. My head was shaved. I had long, beautiful hair, but no one cared about my hair. They cared about my life. I then was sent to UCLA, which has a hyperbaric chamber. My legs were on fire, excruciating pain. I literally felt like someone was sitting there at the end just lighting them. Gangrene had set into my right leg. It was moving quickly, and they needed to amputate. It was either my life or my leg. My left foot was questionable. My toes were going to be amputated, and my heel was severely damaged. I then had to make a choice. Am I going to amputate both legs or try and salvage one? And by the grace of God, I fought for my left foot as best as I could. I then was sent home after 4 months of being in a hospital, sent home with all of the identity in which I knew growing up was completely stripped of me. I wasn't this beautiful girl anymore. I was 200 pounds. I was in a wheelchair. I was unable to do anything for myself. I didn't know how I would ever be accepted again, how anyone would love me, how the modeling world would accept me. I just thought I was doomed. I thought ending my life was the only possible chance until I realized, and I did research, that toxic shock syndrome had been killing women for over 30 years, before I was even born. When that information set into me, it ignited a fire in my heart, and I knew I had to say something. I knew I had to stand up. Even though I was depressed, even though I wanted to hide myself, and I was hiding myself in 100-degree weather in sweatpants and hoodies, sharing my story with Vice in 2015 was probably the best thing I could have done. Not only did I want to speak about bringing awareness to TSS and dangers of tampons, and the fact that this was still killing and injuring women over up to 30 years, I wanted to show the world me and who I am. And revealing myself to the world with one leg, half a foot that's questionable, but revealing to myself the strength that I saw in images and videos, knowing that I still was beautiful, I still looked powerful, I still came from something, and I'm a survivor. After doing, thank you, appreciate that. After trying to salvage my left foot for about 7 years, which was about last year, I decided to amputate my left leg to make a better life for myself and a better future for myself. I want to be a mom. I'm an athlete. I wanted to move. I wanted to just live my life. And I was just crippled and in so much pain I can't even tell you. So relieving that was probably the best thing I could have done. And once I did that, I was able to think clearly and reignite that fire in my heart to stand up for us as women and to share my story and to get us angry and upset at these multi-billion-dollar companies who are putting harmful chemicals in these products that we're using every day, all the time. I hope that me being able to come back, reinvent myself, however many times it's been, I think it's been about 3 times I can say in my whole lifetime. That was a joke, but anyway. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. I came back to the modeling world last year, and a whole new being. And I can tell you that amazing brands like Adidas and H&M, I just walked the Rihanna's Fenty show this the past fashion week, that these barriers and stigmas are being broken, and I'm trying to do that, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job, but we're not there yet. My thing is that we need to stand, thanks. We need to hold these multi-billion-dollar companies accountable and hopefully for the generations to come that they won't face these problems. They won't have these situations where their life is threatened because we did the work. We made sure the awareness, we changed and made sure that these companies were held accountable. And we have safer products that are not going to put us in danger. I also hope that I'm changing what we think is beautiful, because it's not about this. It's not about what we look like. This is just our vessels. It's about your heart. It's about what you leave on this planet when you're not here anymore. It's about what you leave and what someone else is going to say about you. That's what's important, and that's what this life is about. Remember that you're beautiful and you can do anything, and I hope that I've inspired you to keep kicking butt and keep going out there and raising your voices and being the amazing women that you are. Thank you so much.